Hi my friends, thank you so much for being here. Today I would like to talk about our newest national lockdown in England, especially about the fact that early years settings had to remain open. Just a quick introduction, I'm an art and early years teacher and a parenting consultant. I hold a bachelor's degree in teaching art and a master's/research degree in education from the University of Cambridge. I used to teach art in primary schools, but then I changed direction and I've been working with little ones, toddlers and preschoolers for roughly now seven years. And as we can read in this document, early years settings should stay open for all children. So the government advises early years providers to stay open, and then you can read this. Whether your child attends nursery, a childminder, or another early years provider is your decision, but we do encourage you to take up a place for your child. And here is why I feel that the early years settings are kind of forced to remain open. Early years settings have been asked to stay open as normal to all children, with funding being withdrawn if parents choose not to take up their government-funded place this term. Now, obviously this put early years providers, staff and parents in a funny situation. For instance, if parents with a government-funded place for their children decide not to take their children to nursery because they are afraid of catching and spreading Covid-19, then the nursery or childminders might not get any funding. So let's just read some of the comments I found on Early Years Alliance's Facebook page. Well done, Mr. Johnson. You say early years education is an absolute must and incredibly important. What will you do when all the early years settings close because they couldn't afford to stay open, because you withdraw funding, because parents didn't feel safe to send their children? And another comment. How dare the powers that be tell you to keep your premises open, but totally ignore the fact that you are all as vulnerable as everyone else and that funding could be lost. It makes me mad. Bless you all, you are doing a grand job. Alright, now let's talk about the whys. Why do early years settings need to remain open if schools had to close? So the DFE, Department for Education, shared the followings. The reason schools have been restricted is not that they are unsafe, but because additional measures are needed to contain the spread of the virus. Now, first of all, I wouldn't say such thing that schools are safe. It is very misleading. Lots of people can misunderstand this when Boris Johnson said on TV as well that schools are safe. No words. You cannot say that schools are safe, and nurseries are not safe either, but I'm going to talk about it in a minute. So if there is a chance to get and spread the virus in a school environment, then I wouldn't say that the school is safe. There is still a risk, I believe, that they will catch it and spread it, and sometimes they don't even show symptoms, so it is very hard to tell when schools are going to be safe. Also, we cannot promise that everybody will play by the rules, and I'm talking about wearing face masks and maintaining social distance, washing hands, and so on and so on. We cannot promise such things. Sometimes people forget their face masks, sometimes people forget to wash hands. It happens, even though if you want to do your best and you want to follow the rules, sometimes you just miss something. Early years settings remain low-risk environments for children and staff. 0 to 5-year-olds continue to have the lowest confirmed rates of coronavirus of all age groups, and there is no evidence that the new variant of coronavirus disproportionately affects young children. See, it says low-risk environment. I think nobody should really say such thing that schools and nurseries are safe, because people will misunderstand it and they will think that they are entirely, completely safe, but they are not. And here, we are responding to the intense pressure on the NHS, but that pressure is not driven by children. We are not seeing significant pressure from coronavirus in pediatrics across the UK. The new variant appears to affect all ages. Again, they say all ages, alright, but we have not seen any changes in the severity among any age groups, which is very good, including children and young people. The majority of children and young people have no symptoms or very mild illness only. Now, first of all, there is still a low risk. Even though it's a low risk, it is still a risk. And here in this paragraph, they're not really talking about adults, staff members, my colleagues. They were not really mentioned. Children were mentioned, which is fine, of course, and I'm very happy about this news. On the other hand, I feel a little bit scared is because children and young people have no symptoms. It doesn't mean that they don't catch the virus. It means they do catch the virus. They don't show any symptoms, and I go and work with them and I can get it. So please do not say that schools and nurseries are safe. They are not entirely safe, and I cannot emphasize this enough, that now, especially now, please, parents and my fellow colleagues, not only in the nursery where I work, but like fellow colleagues everywhere around the world, please play by the rules. Do your best not to spread the virus and not to catch it. Although the DFE, Department for Education, says that the early years education plays an important role in children's development and learning, still taking children to nurseries is not compulsory in England. Your child must start full-time education once they reach compulsory school age. This is on 31st December, 31st March or 31st of August following their 5th birthday, whichever comes first. So how come that one of the reasons mentioned by the DFE to keep the nurseries open is that early years education is highly important, crucial in supporting young children's development and learning. Therefore, nurseries should remain open? It is just a food for thought. With this, I'm just saying that it is a weak reason, especially that if parents will stop taking their children to nurseries during lockdown, those nurseries or childminders will suffer and might actually close because they don't get enough funding. So for me it is a very, very weak reason to remain open. Somehow the DFE says that nurseries earlier settings are highly important to have and they have to remain open. On the other hand, it's not compulsory to take children to nurseries. Do you know what I mean? It's just very, yes, one of the comments that I found summarizes my thoughts properly. Let's check it. Early years provision is so important. This is what our government are telling us. They are also saying, stay home, save lives. Parents are following government advice and staying home. Early years are being penalized by having funding reduced. This important sector will not survive for our lovely children to come back to, unless our government give them the much needed and deserved support. And then we read this. Professor Michi, sorry if I didn't pronounce this name right, who sits on a subcommittee of the Government Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies, also said the current restrictions were too lax. However, she said in comparison to the first lockdown last spring, the restrictions were less strict, with more people allowed to go out to work, and children's nursery is open, meaning public transport is busier. And also I have to add that outdoor play areas are open as well, so families might mix by accident. So my opinion on the matter is that schools and nurseries are definitely not safe, or at least not totally safe. But I do not say that schools and nurseries should close or remain open. I'm just saying that we cannot sit back and relax and think that children and staff and parents are safe in and at nurseries and schools. We still need to do our best and follow the rules, and I cannot emphasize this enough. So the only thing we can do now is to follow the rules, maintain social distancing, wear face mask, wash your hands. If you feel sick, don't come to nursery, don't come near to nursery, don't go outside just for testing. And yes, that's the only thing we can do. So well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for being with me, and please let me know about your opinion and your experience. Leave the comments down below. If you're interested in toddlers development and learning, check out my website Wonder Toddlers. You will find some free stuff over there. And yes, thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share this video, leave your comments down below, share your experience with me, share your opinion, but just let's keep this comment section nice and polite and intelligent. Thank you. Bye bye.